Hello there guys, I hope you're all keeping well. So this is another video in our series of working from home with Prism Arts, and today we're going to be looking at putting a character into space and how we can do that by looking at perspective and how things get smaller when they're further away or larger when they get closer to you. So we're going to be working on a thing called single point perspective. So I've got a nice, simple, straightforward drawing exercise for us all to do, and I will begin by taking you through that now. So this is what we're going to be drawing. So it's a simple drawing. We've got a horizon line with some hills in the background, a nice big sun coming up behind it, and we've got a straight road going right up into the centre of our picture, and we've got some people of various different sizes placed as the perspective goes in. So we see that they're smaller the further away they are, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger the closer they come to us. Okay, so what you will need to do this drawing is a ruler, which I'm going to place, a selection of coloured pencils, a black felt tip, just to make our lines nice and clear, and a pencil. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is going to take my ruler, and I'm roughly about in the centre of my page, I'm going to draw a straight line straight across the centre like so. And that's our horizon line. Okay, so again, roughly in the centre of this, so I'm going to guess about there, maybe is the centre. I'm going to put a little mark on it there. Okay, I'm then going to take my ruler and I'm going to draw a diagonal line from that point to the edge of the paper. And I'm going to take my ruler again and draw out roughly the same angle coming out straight off to the edge of the paper. And there's going to be another one just beside it, and this is going to show the curbstones on the side of the road. This is. And then there's going to be another one just coming out like so, like that. Now you might be able to see my other drawing. I've marked out the curbstones, and we've got these power cable lines going along this side as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler now, and I'm going to mark in these things, these little curbstones, at the same height on each one. So I'm going to do one here, roughly half the size again. I'm going to do another one. These are all little tricks that lead your eye into looking at this central point of the picture. So it's all about locating the character in the right space. So that's what all this is about. There we go, so I've got those going up. So obviously we've got the power cable lines, which are going straight up as well. So I'm just going to put my ruler at a right angle, so I'm heading straight up along the page. And I'm going to draw that to there. I'm going to take my ruler again, and I'm following the curbstone mark, which I put in, and it's going to go to the same height. So we're continuing the perspective, going through the drawing. So that's going up again, like so. There's another one coming up, like so. And in between these there's a little cable, and that's going like that. There we go, and there'll be another one going off here, which is going to link up to another power cable line, which is off in the distance. Okay. Now down the middle of the road, to lead your eye into the centre of the picture, which is what we're trying to do here, there is some road markings. So I'm just gonna roughly put these in. So just like you see down the middle of every road, a little white marker to keep the cars on the right side of the road. Okay, and in the background we're gonna have some rolling hills. So we can draw those in, and they kind of go like that. It's like being in the Lake District. That one's going to go up on a funny angle. You can draw these however you want to draw them. You could put a forest in the background, whatever you wanted to do. And then behind that, you can either use a big circular thing like that, or you can draw it freehand. We're just going to draw a large sun in the background. So I'm just going to draw it kind of like so. Now I'm going to take my black pen and I'm going to work over my pencil drawing that I've just done. Obviously I've done this quite quick here, but I mean you guys can do this quite quick as well. It's quite a simple little thing, but it's this way of drawing and using this perspective in this way is something you can do in a lot of your stuff that you do with us, because it's a really nice way of using your drawing to locate your figures or people, to make them really lifelike. We've done lots of drawings with our maquette men, and like mine, they tend to be, there's a figure floating in space and it's hard to work out what it's actually doing and what its size is. So this is a nice way of putting it in its right place. That makes sense. I'm just going over all of my pencil lines so we get a nice bold image and something a bit like this. So everything's working back to this central point. That's the basis of all of our drawing. There we go. A bit rough and ready this one, but it's fine. Yeah, get my lines in the middle of the road. That one's going off at the edge there. Okay. That looks okay, doesn't it? So I'm going to take my green pencil. It's going to be for my hills. I'll add this in. Just get a bit of colour in there, and then we can think about where we're going to place our figures once we've got a little bit of colour going on in here. So that one's a little bit of green. Swap that out now. A nice bold yellow for the sun. Nice bright. There we go. So I'm just going to do a little bit of blue to show the sky behind the sun. I'm not going to colour it all in, just a little touch. Nice bright day. There we go. Do a little bit of green on the grass as well. And just to give me a perspective point in, I'm going to put a little bit of colour on the road so everything's leading to this central point. There we go. Now you'll know who this chap is. We all know who he is. He's our little maquette man that we've been doing lots of different things with, haven't we? So if I place him, boom, there, he's really close to us. He's like a giant man. However, if I was to place him there, it wouldn't look right, would it? It looks huge. He looks like the BFG, just stood in space. He's taller than the sun and the mountains around him. So what I've done is I've thought about how when the person is close, is further away, they become smaller. So I've made a smaller maquette man. So he's stood in the road about there. Okay, so you could place him anywhere in this picture. That'd be about right. If he came up there, suddenly he seems so much smaller, doesn't he? So it's more like a child than a man. Or a woman, obviously. And then, so you can play about, you can draw some of these characters and cut them out, and you can think about where you're going to place them in your picture for them to actually fit in with the scale of the picture and the place which they are. There you go. Lovely. So have a little go at that, guys, and have a play with your perspective and see if you can come up with this as well. Okay, thanks, bye. So hello again, everybody. So I'm hoping that you've all had a good go at having a go at this drawing, following the simple steps that I gave you before. So following on from that, we don't have to draw the same scene all the time. So if we take our little figures off, I can give you some more ideas about how you could maybe take this style of drawing and using perspective and kind of make these drawings your own. So I've took an idea this time of following that same line of perspective, which takes you to the center of the page, and I thought, oh, I wonder what I could do that would illustrate that. And I thought about whenever you're in London and you're on the tube and everything goes off and it follows the line of the tunnel, so you can draw your little tube station. I've got my little map on the wall, both sides, the train track through the middle. Got my little tube train, which can probably sit about there. And again, you can take your figure and you can think, where could I place this figure for it to make sense in this drawing? There, the person becomes a child. There, placed there, becomes an adult. Okay, so you can take it other size figures as well. So I've got my medium size one. That will probably fit around there in relation to the bench. Okay, and you play about where you will put things into space for it to become the right perspective and fit in with everything else which you drew around it. So another idea that I had for us having a perspective drawing which followed some clean lines, it's running to centre. So we'll all know this one living in Carlisle, so it's a terrace street. So again, everything is going off into our perspective point in the middle. And we can think about where we're going to place this person for it to become about real. So I reckon that person could go into the door around about there. That will kind of make sense to me. Probably about the right size for getting in there. Obviously we've got a bigger door here, so you might just see the head. Or it might be over at the side of the page as well. So just some ideas of really what you could do to follow this horizon line. So you see lots of avenues in France with trees following it down the side, or a big stately home with a nice big driveway going up in there. So just have a play around with it, see how you get on. It'd be lovely to see what you do. Good stuff, thanks.